Rainbow Six Siege is a worldwide phenomenon, played by over 50 million people and heading into its 5th year with even bigger and bolder plans. It's easy to think that it was always destined to succeed, but every game has those moments, those key decisions that can either make it or break it. Rainbow Six Siege is now played at a professional level by players around the globe who compete for glory and lucrative prize pools on the world stage. But how do you take your game from development and launch to the grand stage of esports competition? The answer is, you don't do it alone.
From the first competition that we did internally, it was a goal. Everybody wanted to be like an esport game.
The legends of this internal tournament that they had between the devs, that's when they kind of knew they had something really good going on. There was no big crowds, but they saw how people reacted and how people got excited and how we have something really solid. Like this can happen.
The reality though is that you cannot say it's an esport game until it's accepted by the community. So everything was based on the competitive aspect of the game. And even though we were not able to say it out loud, it was always a focus.
I mean, the first SI was that first moment of like, we have teams from all sorts of places around the world. Like we have that are quite excellent, honestly, that play at a much higher level than we imagined. It was, yeah, it's hard to describe what really makes a game ready for this, because nobody's ever ready for it. I think it's just, the community wanted it.
Team vitality!
Gameplay first is always the rule on R6. It needs to stay like that. It will always stay like that. So everything is made for the competition, the fun, the appeal of an operator, but it needs to be an esport game.
Far side, the others are now over towards B, looking for it. Neither one. We will head to overtime.
Because we really maintain, I think, a virtuous circle between the community, the professional scene, and how competitive the game is, and the game, it just contributed to what the Six Invitational is today, which is, going from 300 people to 5,000.
They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there was a time when Rainbow Six Siege was, well, if not broken, then certainly in need of a tune-up.
With growth comes the need, I think, for a team to adjust. It was very important to say, okay, what we're delivering is not at the level of quality that it should be.
A lot of what we were doing was not scalable. We were based on problematic tech.
Ubisoft always wanted, to have this kind of game, like live games that last forever. Siege was the first one to encounter, let's say, the limitation of how we were making game before that. And that means on the way, we had to learn and we had to adapt. Operational is really the moment where the team had a big discussion with the company to say like, okay, so now we are on the way to be what we always wanted to be. That means a game that lasts forever. But this comes with a cost. This comes with technical decisions that we need to make, technical frameworks that we need to redo. So this is a moment where you can walk the talk. And they walk the talk. And they let us do that. And this was a turning point, because this is where we were able to modify our ship to be like this big, everlasting ship that Siege is going to be for the next 10 years.
Yes, the decision is very hard when it comes to those moments, but the community is driven. Like, we'd rather fix our shits instead of like having a 6 months and we lose everybody because the game is broken.
People understood quickly when we started communicating that this wasn't by any means a sign of the game's death. On the opposite, it was a sign of us investing in the future of the game. Because people saw the bugs, right? People saw that every time we released a patch, when we fixed one thing, we broke 3 other things. So that just wasn't sustainable. Anyone playing Rainbow could see it.
Overall, it was one of the best decisions that was taken on the project. Yeah, the reality is that the game now is, I don't spend half of my time waiting for a match.
It also allowed ourselves to revisit how we communicate with our players and to refresh what we do creatively every season.
And I'll make sure you never escape it.
We are talking about the things that won, but there were also some other stuff that didn't won. Like they had to make some concession to be able to build this game and ship it in time and stuff like that. And what is coming in the near future is a realization of this vision, of this premise. And I will give you a concrete example. If you look at the prep phase of this game, from a design standpoint, you can see a promise. This is a moment where I will be able to get some information and build a strategy around. When you play Siege, you can see, like, for technical constraint, technical reason, that typically you already have committed to your operator before doing the prep phase. Why? Because first you choose your operator and then we have to load them. So we load the operator, you play the prep phase, you get the info, but you can do nothing because you're already committed to your plan. And to me, this is one of the things that we want to change. The prep phase, we want to give you opportunity to really adapt your gameplay and your plan based on the information, based on the information that you gather during these phases. And it's, in a way, it's something new because clearly it will change the gameplay. But if you think about it, it was here since the beginning. You know, even in the name, prep phase. It's just like for technical constraint. There's a lot of reason of why we ended in this situation. But now, after 4 years, it's time to reopen and to finish to execute the vision of Xavier Marquis. This is, to me, the future that is coming.